Hello, hello, everyone. We back at it again with another dating show. So another reality dating show. Um, so we're trying to simultaneously stream this on both our channels this time, and we're gonna try to do this every week on Sundays because that is what we chose, or what I guess I chose it, and then just Ilse just said, okay, let's do it. But um, oh, how have you been, Sid? How's your Sunday been going?
I've been good. I've been waiting to go live because Mexico is delivering.
Hmm.
Mexico is living up to the Love is Blind family of shows.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it yet. I mean, I it's definitely different. I will say that. It feels similar to Brazil. Maybe just because of I don't know if you would call Brazil a Latin country. I mean, I've heard people say don't call it a Latin country, but it feels like Latin esque in both cases. So it feels very similar to that, except obviously different. So I don't know. I mean, I can definitely watch this a lot better than Brazil. I'm not gonna lie, but it definitely feels similar. So
Like I said in my review, it is, I love the set. If it's the same studio, kudos to whoever kind of changed the setup, the colors, the shape of the doors, the artwork. They just gave it a huge facelift, and I really, really enjoyed at least that starting point.
yeah, I did notice that the numbers were different. I was like, that's kind of cool. I kind of like the font of the numbers. I was like, okay.
Right.
Um,
And Mexico kind of like gave us the timeline better. They gave us, it's like you have X amount of day, 10 minutes on the first day to talk to everybody. And then, it's like 3 days later, 4 days later, or 2 days after the reveal is when we meet each other at the vacation. So I really like, editing, putting that in there for us to know, like, hey, this is the timeline.
well, kind of the editing. I mean, I got a bone to pick with the editing because I told you this offline, and I think that I said it in my review for that I put up yesterday. But yeah, I'm like, there's some. I did like the aspect of the editing where they did tell you that they kept you informed of how many days or what day it was, and it was a little bit easier, especially when they got to Tulum. You know, like how
Mm-hmm.
many days they've been there and all that. But I still got a bone to pick with the editing part. But um, anyways, we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves a little bit that aspect. But what's new, right?
What's
Um,
new?
what things changed and what the things stay, right?
Exactly.
Oh, but all right, so I will say that I'm not going to even attempt their last name because the double R is a rolling R, so I'm not even going to try to say their last name. But the hosts, their first names are Omar and Lucy. I know you said that you mentioned in your review um, who like they you kind of told a little bit about what they do, but I don't remember what you said. Do you remember what
Yes,
exactly?
he is a very famous actor, a comedic actor, and he's been on several different shows. The way Netflix describes his wife is that she is a life coach that has a huge Instagram following. I haven't watched any of her videos, but yes, that's who they are.
Okay, perfect. Because I sure did not write that down. So, okay, you know me. If I deem it worthy enough for my opinion, then I will write it down. But I did not write that down. Um, but so guess we'll just do it episode by episode this time around, until we get to the day-to-day life when they come back from Tulum, episode 5. So obviously we don't have episode 5, but that's what I plan on wanting to do today. Unless you, of course, next weekend you want to do it differently, but because what we decided to do was we're going to alternate who sort of hosts the lives this time around. So I kind of wanted to make it a little bit more fair, because when we did Never Ever Met, it was me who did the live. So I kind of wanted to let Elsie do some lives, or host some lives and stuff like that. So it's like, um, anyway, so episode 1 kind of goes a little bit fast paced, right? Like, because we're getting to know new people and all that stuff. And the first person I took note of was Fernando. I don't think that was the first person we saw, but that's the first person who made an impression on me. Um, who was the first person that made an impression on you?
Gerardo
Okay.
with his full head of hair, full beard, large eyes. That's who made a first impression on me. And he's a musician. Oh my gosh, sing me a lullaby, Gerardo, please.
Sing me a lullaby, girl. Okay. Already, we started off with the foolishness already. Oh.
That's not foolishness. He has a great voice. He's a musician. Use his talents.
Mm. Okay, whatever floats your boat, my sis. But yeah, so Fernando kind of spoke to me. It wasn't really anything. It was just, I guess, his whole aura or vibe or something that was
Yeah, player.
that just. I don't know. I don't think I picked. I thought of that, but it was because us Aquarius people be having like spidey senses, and so we sort of like if we get a vibe from somebody and we don't know what, we're just like something about you I don't like, or I don't something about you is off, and it's just like that was me. I was like something about him it seems off.
Yeah.
He was just off. I was like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna keep my eyes on him because he didn't to me like watching all four episodes. I don't rem- remember seeing him say or do anything salacious from what
Oh,
I
really?
remember.
Oh,
I
really?
didn't.
Okay.
I didn't. Maybe it's because I've talked to you about this offline at length yesterday about Saul and my issues with him. So maybe maybe my feelings for Saul is overshadowing that, and you can enlighten me. But yeah, from what I could tell, the first 4 episodes, Fernando didn't seem that bad at the time. I'm not saying he won't ever be, and I'm not saying he's not going to put a split in his mouth later on in episodes 5 through 11, but from what I saw, he didn't seem all that bad for now. That's not
Mm.
to say that hearing your perspective and hearing what you say won't kind of change that a little bit. But for now, I'm just keeping my eye on him. It, and he seems. I'm not even gonna say fine. I'm gonna say okay. But anyways,
He, Fernando, very good looking young man. He is the popular guy with the ladies, apparently. And I did like, let me say the positive, I did like how he handled the rumor mill with the ladies, and we'll get to that later. My only thing is the immediate, I don't want any drama, I don't want any this, and if she's saying this, then she's sabotaging me with the other ladies, da 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 da. Yes, I need to speak to her. I wish I saw more of the conversation because he just decided, the other lady, I'm just going to cut her off.
That is true. Yeah.
I'm just going to cut her off. No more dates with her. And yeah, I'm going to put you second best, and I'm going to go with this other one who like it a little spicier than you. That's how I saw Fernando.
I mean, maybe I just wasn't phased, and so I was like, you know what,
I wasn't phased. I was not phased either. He had the right mindset, and we, full disclosure, one of the ladies says, I'm getting married, so another woman,
Irais, her name is Irais.
yes,
And
or they call her Iris. That's how they pronounce it on the show. Iris is a lawyer, and she just came out having a wonderful date with Fernando. Said, I'm getting married. And the other lady, who happens to be a good friend of hers outside in the real world, took that as, oh, he proposed, and went and told Fernando, yes, she's telling people, so I need to hear from you if you proposed. And he took that as a little cat infighting kind of thing, a little drama. Iris asked the other ladies, hey, what did you think when I said I'm getting married? Did I say he proposed? They're like, no, you just want him bad, but he didn't propose to you. Mm-hmm. So it created a friction. Fernando was not having it, and he decided that the bone collector, the friend, I forgot her name, that he ain't seeing her no more. And he gonna talk to Iris and see what's going on. Because you can't be upset in my game plan with these other ladies. See, I would have stopped seeing both of them.
But I'm not mad at that. I don't know what I would do in that situation, but I mean,
Fernando. I'm watching him because and again, I may be projected. I just see smooth player vibes from Fernando. I'm just seeing that. He may not be. He may be genuine. He may be very sweet. But I'm seeing smooth player vibes. And that that girl Iris gave him all the gifts she brought to the show for her fiance. And he said, yeah, no, we can't continue together. And took the gifts back to the men's lounge. Why can't we just leave the gift in the room and production send it back to her?
Hey, it's a gift, right? I mean, you gifted it to me, so I might as well just keep it. I'm not saying that's right. I'm just saying, like, that's probably his logic.
Let's go here. Because we are on a dating show to find a fiance. If it was regular, fine. But if I now am going to propose to another woman, how am I looking like taking these gifts home from another?
Didn't one of these people from one of the other versions say something like, well, this is real life? Or something like, I could have sworn someone said that in one of these reality dating shows. I don't know if it was one of the Lovers Minds or someone in Love Island or something. I could have sworn someone said something like that. And I was like, you know what? You people are weirdos. Like,
well, it's real for them. It's real for them. So I could take that there. But in real life, if I'm, dating two people at the same time and I decide to be exclusive with one, I could foreseeably return the gift. If it's a recent gift, we haven't been dating for years, I'll give it back to you. I don't want questions. It's like production. I'm leaving right here. Production will bring it back to you, but I appreciate it. And you'll always be in my thoughts. Whatever.
You do not play at all.
He took it back, and another guy was like, "Oh, is that from, this one?" He's like, "No." He's like,
No,
"Oh,
that's just for the
Iris."
other one.
I was like, the men are gossiping in the hallway.
He was all happy too because he was smiling and everything. I remember that. I was like, "Dang, boy."
So you
No.
saying Fernando ain't done nothing? Yeah, girl.
I, I, I mean, oh, that's funny. But anyway, so the next person that kind of made an impression on me was Sylvia because they kept putting curvy model, and she described herself as a curvy model. I was like, see, maybe it's just my because I was raised in the United States, right? But when I think of curvy model, I think of someone who is plus size, and she doesn't look necessarily plus size. Maybe in Mexico she is. So I don't know what I don't I'm not never gonna ask her what her size is unless she wants to volunteer the information. So but maybe in because I believe they use a metric system rather than what we use here. So I'm thinking for over there, she might be considered curvy, and I say that with quotations because I have my camera off and I don't want to be on camera today. So or right now. So but yeah, so maybe for her she's considered curvy, but I'm sitting here thinking curvy where?
Have you looked at Fashion Week anywhere? New York,
No,
Paris, anywhere?
no.
You have you seen the models on magazines? She's
Maybe.
definitely she's definitely not in the, Kendall Jenner. I did agree with the curvy model because she kind of reminds me of Ashley Graham, who is a plus size model. That's who she reminded me of. The minute they said curvy model and I saw her, I was like, "Oh, she looked like Ashley Graham." It's like Ashley Graham, but that's just me. But I can see the curvy. I'm not seeing completely, plus, but it's, plus as far as what the aesthetic right now is in modeling. That's how I
Okay, so I'll
see it.
give you that. I'll give you that because I just looked her up. So I'll give you that. Okay. Because I was confused. So that's how I was like, but I mean, I like her. I like her personality. I think she has a lively personality, um, which is not a bad thing. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that she likes to be, like I guess you could say the life of the party, um, and she likes to get things going and have a good time, which is not a bad. And it doesn't seem. And I'm not saying that it's like a bad thing. I'm just saying like you know she just she it's she just likes to have a good time. I don't know how else to really explain that, but I mean I like her so far. And she seems to express herself really well from what I remember. Um, I didn't really have any negative feelings, I guess, towards her. Um,
I have concerns.
oh, okay, say more.
So Sylvie, our curvy model, great as you said, great personality. She is just, bubbly, open. In the beginning with her partner, he was like, "I'm only getting surface with her. She's not really getting deep." And that could have been a problem, except she did get deep. He did, I guess, get below the surface with her. She said a few things that I'm concerned about, especially with the partner she has, who's also fun loving, jovial, and, a kid at heart, but definitely he is, an adult. He's not, he doesn't act childish, but childlike to be life of the party and everything like her. Um, she said she has a fear of abandonment. And with this show, yeah. For you to not get a decision as to whether your partner wants to be with you or not is at an altar in front of your friends and family, I'm concerned. Because if he says no, I'm concerned for Sylvia. And I'm only saying if he says no because her connection, Chema, I like Chema's personality, but Chem always says he's about image and how, things look. He is into her when they do connect and there is a reveal. He is into her. He did compliment her, but that's after affirming her compliment of him. But Chema had another connection. And I'm fearful, when Love is Blind, people get to meet the folks that they didn't match with, that he may, take a detour and her fear of abandonment will again rear its head.
Yeah,
Also,
he was. Sorry. Go ahead.
no, sorry. It just came to me. Didn't she say that something happened? Oh, her father passed, and
When she
that,
was young.
yes, and that challenged the family financially, and her
Mm-hmm.
life was forever changed. I find it interesting, and I would like to know his stats. Chema, although he's an entrepreneur, he is a licensed trader on their stock exchange. Um, he's also a professional poker player. How did she reconcile that? How did she come to terms with that, considering financial issues really hurt her family years ago?
Well, was she hurt financially, or was it just that they had a change in how they operated? Because from what she said, her father was the breadwinner, and her mom stayed at home. So then when her father passed, her mother had to go out and get a job. So I mean, I don't know what the finances were like before, like when her father was alive and he was the sole breadwinner. If they lived comfortably, and once he passed and her mom had to go to work, if the finances were shrunken down, because she, for whatever reason, whether that's all her mom could feasibly get, or or what have you. But so I mean, I don't. That's the only thing I can say. Like, pushback wise, like, was she financially? Were they financially challenged after her father's death? I mean, maybe for a little while, but because her mom had to find a job, but perhaps maybe for a little while. But that's the only thing I will say.
Yeah, only because she brought it up like 2 or 3 times throughout these 4 episodes. I'm like, it really hit hard. Their lifestyle really changed.
Yeah, and speaking of Chema, he was the next one that I kind of was or next person out who I noticed, because of the whole uh fact that he had specifically volunteered the information that he kind of swore off getting married, because I don't even think he said why. He just said that he swore it off. Um, and he always saw because of that he always saw himself as a forever bachelor. Um, and then he said he has a daughter. I'm like, okay. I mean, and that's one thing I noticed about this season, is that a lot of people have children. Not necessarily, because I didn't say a marriage per se. I think one person had Karen. I believe it was Karen who said that she has a daughter from a marriage, a previous marriage.
Wasn't
Uh,
Saul too? Wasn't Saul previously married?
he could have been, and I just don't remember. But But yeah, he like a lot of people, but a lot of people have children, which I'm surprised about because I mean, because usually in these shows, the people don't have haven't had been married. Sorry, they weren't previously married, and they previously never had kids. So
I think it's the Americanization that did that.
yeah,
I think we
yeah,
only do that here because a lot of the other dating shows for other countries, besides Love is Blind, people are regular people who also have kids or been divorced.
true. Because it
And
wasn't until like Brazil that I watched that I noticed that a lot of people because they kind of had some in previous seasons for Brazil, but it wasn't nearly as much as like say the fourth season. So and there was a lot of people who actually been divorced on that season two. So that's why I was like, huh, that's definitely different. I mean, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that that's more than I'm used to seeing. And I was kind of thrown a little bit because so many people. I was like, dang. I was like, I'm not used to this. What's going on here? But anyway,
I, I like it and I don't at the same time. I like it because it's, regular people. You're going to be in the dating world. You will encounter people who have kids. But the other thing is, I'm falling in love in these pods and my child doesn't even know you. Yeah. How's that going to work?
mm, I wouldn't know since I don't have kids, so I don't know. But I don't have to worry about that part. But if I were to ever go on the show, by the way, but I'm not saying I will. I'm just saying that if I were to have ever gone on the show or will ever go on the show, unless I have kids between now and the time I ever decide to want to try to this show, I won't have to worry about that. So I mean, I mean, you have kids, so I mean, I don't know how you would feel about this, but
Yeah, to do this show, my kids will have to be older. Because if my, older or young enough that they they just are toddlers, but if they are like most of the people in here, the cast, it's 11, it's 14, it's at ages where the kids have and can express strong opinions. So you have
mm,
to weigh that as well. Like, okay, and how do you introduce your kid? Because someone already said that their daughter was jealous when he said he was going on the show for a wife. So his
wait, who
fiance
said
got to
that?
battle that too.
Wait, who said that? Which one said that? I don't remember that part. Wait, who said that?
I believe it was Saul. Yeah, Saul. I have it written here. He has a 14-year-old daughter, and she got jealous when he said he was going on the show.
You know what? That's even more reason why I don't like him now. Just like,
Girl,
girl.
it's a natural thing. It's a natural thing. It's a natural thing for the child to become jealous because if I've had you all this time, now you're bringing someone else into the mix. I don't know how that will change our dynamic. So of course I'll get jealous of the unknown. Now, whether he appeased her or whatnot, we shall see. I think your dislike of Saul is blinding you to him.
I fully said that yesterday because I'm like, and I'll explain more why because that's the episode as we get further into the episodes. But um, for now, I'm gonna let it rest and plead my case later. Um, but
So what about
yeah,
my guy Gerardo? What
yeah.
did you like or dislike about him?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how. I don't. I mean, I guess maybe I'm just more neutral on him because I don't think I really have much to really say about him at all. I mean, I was gonna say I was gonna go next to him and say he was the second or the I don't think it's the third person now at this point um, that I kind of took note of because he was having a hard time choosing between two women, Fernanda and Maffer. Muffer.
Yes,
I'm not sure
Mafa.
how
Yep.
to. And that was the only thing that I took note in episode 1 so far. Um, for him, other than the fact that like he decides to go with Fernanda. So I mean he seems like he has um a like Fernando, he didn't seem to really say. I mean, up until this point, I would say like for a few episodes, he didn't seem to really be all that worrisome. I will say, looking back on it a little bit, and this is towards when they're in like episode 4, but he seems a little gossipy. Now that I think about it, because he seems to gossip a lot about the other couples a little bit, maybe. And I'm just like, I don't know if I like that. Like, if you're gonna be gossipy like that,
But
because I don't.
it's always been a response to being asked.
That's true. It's
You
just
know,
that I don't.
it's
Maybe he
not
was a
like
little
he's
too
like,
eager.
you see them, you see that. No, he was like, they actually, Fernando, what you're talking about, asked, well, what do you think about so and so, and he kind of like poured out all that he thought.
That's true.
Even his lady, Fernanda, she was like, when they came back, she's like, what do you think? He's like, oh my god.
Yeah, he kind of sprayed it out. I'm like, okay. But that
I
was the
was
only thing that I was just kind of thinking of, like just now. Like, but that's like literally. I mean, otherwise, I don't really have much on him and what I think of him. I mean, he just seems like he's just doing what he feels he needs to do. So, um,
I will say a few things about the men. The men, one, they give each other some good deep hugs.
uh, girl, the
They
hugs.
give each
The,
other's good deep hugs from the men's lounge to vacation throughout the show. They give each other beer hugs. I like to
and
see
you,
that.
Like, okay, and this could be just because of Chema and his antics, but when they were on the honeymoon, I took note of the fact that I believe it was Chema who squeezed his butt. I was like, now Chema, what are you doing? Squeezing this man's butt like that. I'm like, I don't know if that's just culture or what, but I was like, damn, like, calm down. Like
And
his butt is not that
he
good.
invited others to squeeze it.
I was like, y'all need to calm down. Like it's not that deep to be squeezing someone's butt like that. But maybe that's just me and my hangups. But I was like,
But the other thing with the men, they are not moved by gifts. Because here's another one. Gerardo,
go go off, and I'll mute myself.
Gerardo, his other love interest that he did not pick, Mafa, she wrote an original song and sang it for him. And he still said, no, it's a no for me. I mean, golly, these men are sticking to their decision. They are staying 10 toes down. I don't care how many teddy bears with fragrances you send me. I don't care how many songs you write for me or my child. Shout out Alejandra to Chema. They are like, yeah, the gifts ain't moving me. I'm going to the other door. Maybe we meet up sometime. But Mafa had the best leave. She had the door open and she was about to leave. And he's like, glad we met. She's like, same, bye. Girl, I loved it. I loved it with Mafa. But yeah, that was my other thing with the men. I was like, they ain't moved by the overtures by some of the ladies. Are you still laughing? I'm sure you're still laughing at my, tangent about the men and gifts. But Gerardo, he is unproblematic right now, but he just, yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was trying to get at with Fernando. That he's to me it just seemed like he was just a little. I mean, I didn't really care enough about his antics, and that's I mean maybe I just wasn't moved by him, so I was like, yeah. But anyway, so yeah, Gerardo. For now, I mean, he seems like um,
Gives good advice.
because he will talk to Saul off a damn ledge. I was like, that's later though, so I'll keep that to
Yeah,
myself for now.
yeah,
For now,
yeah,
but
yeah. You're gonna
anyway,
tell about. You're gonna tell about. I say Saul, you say Saul.
that's how I heard it in the show because I was listening to the actual people speaking, um, like everyone speaking naturally, instead of
Okay.
the subtitles or the dub and all that. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why I keep saying. That's why I keep pronouncing their names like that because I was like, because I'm a stickler about my name, so that's why I was like, I was like, you know what? Let me just try to pronounce it as best I can with how I heard it. So, um, anyways, and eventually Gerardo actually proposed to Fernanda, and she said yes. So, that's one thing. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes and I'm just like, when someone proposes, that's just like they propose. They she said yes. They say yes, obviously, except for that one case with Renee and Yenais. But
Oh, we'll
we'll get
get
to
to
that one.
them.
Yep, we'll get to that one. Um, so and I was just like they propose and say they say, the person says yes. So I just like I'm not even gonna try to. I mean, unless it sounds like my ears perk up from something, then I'm like I don't. I'm just writing my thing out and just that's it. So forgive me again for just kind of cutting to the chase here. Um, Eventually, Gerardo and Fernanda meet. Um, from what?
She was scared. She said when he said he was a wannabe hippie, she was expecting a long beard.
And did he say bald too or something like that? I was like, dang girl, like you had zero hope that he was gonna be attractive to you. So thank
Oh
God it
my
did
gosh.
though, because I was like, oof, I was kind of scared for him for a second. I was like,
Right. I'm still scared for him because she likes to do all her rock climbing and everything. And he was like, whoa, 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 wait. Don't get too excited. It's been a few years.
I'm not too worried about that just because I think that what he will do is he will at least start to get back into the swing of things with like that, and he will at least try to go on hikes or something, or go to her with a gym and work out a little bit. I think I'm not too worried about it because I get that feeling from him. I don't think he's gonna go full swing into things, obviously, and go 100% like all the time. But I get the sense that he would at least start ingratiating himself back into like the fitness part of it because he knows that's what she likes.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't too worried about that, but that's just my thing, my feeling on it. But
So your boy Fernando, after they meet Fernando, and um, I, I'm going to say it
Irais,
differently. Iris. After that debacle, we are introduced to another woman that
mm,
Fernando was talking to,
yeah, no,
Karen.
Karen. Oh my.
While she's
uh,
coughing, Karen is all the ladies
27.
are all the ladies are beautiful, good looking.
Mhm.
Karen is stunning.
She is.
Just in my opinion, Karen is stunning.
She's
Problematic,
20.
but stunning.
Mhm. Okay, so 27, a financial advisor. So we find out, first thing that comes out of her mouth is, I don't know what moved me, to do this, but I decided to go to get my boyfriend's phone and go through his messages. Come to find out, he's texting a man. And he said all this stuff to this man. I was like, oh, I was like, damn, that not you finding text messages to another man, and ugh. Anyways, that would have sucked. I don't know. I don't know if I would have blacked out and done something I maybe shouldn't have done, or I would have gone all Bernadine and torched his car or
That's destruction
what.
of property. I'm not doing that.
But or what, but that's gotta suck to just do that one day and find out that your man is just cheating on you like that. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what I would have done, but that would have sucked. And we find out that she has an 11-year-old daughter from a previous marriage, in that same conversation. So, and that's just that first conversation. So,
Shall we dig deeper into that first conversation? Because that's what rubs me a little bit wrong with Karen.
well, I think she said it in their second date, not necessarily the first one.
Okay.
But I don't know. I think I know where you're going with this. But go ahead.
So, yes, Karen does find in the phone that her boyfriend is messaging another man that he's in a relationship with. I can't remember. Something is nagging me that she said it was his best friend or something. I I can't remember exactly who the other man was. But Karen, understandably, is mad, very mad about it, and tells her boyfriend she's going to out him to his family. She's going to tell his family. What happens next is he reacts in a terrible, diabolical manner. He does physically assault Karen. And she said,
Mm-hmm.
almost unaliving her. He is dastardly wrong for that. But
Mm-hmm.
again, it is no excuse, but we always have to look at our behavior. He's wrong for putting his hands on her, but I do not agree with outing someone to their family or anywhere. Anywhere. I'm not sure how Mexico views same relationships or people together, but I know in the US, people are still being unalived based on their
Mm-hmm.
partner choices.
Mm-hmm.
So the flip coin of that is Karen's next date. She says, "Hey, what do you think about bringing someone else into our relationship? I like to be, I'm a swinger. I like to swing."
Well, and
Karen,
she brings it up to two of the guys, Saul and Fernando, and um she and both have a different,
reaction.
yes, reaction. Thank you. Both have a different reaction. Fernando is all good vibes, let's do it, whatever. Saul, on the other hand, is like, and this is where I took issue. This is where I took issue with him from the start. Was, so she asked him, obviously, what would you think of, if we had a threesome, it was me, you, and another guy, and he says, I wouldn't like that. And I was sitting here thinking, but you just said not even 5 minutes ago that you would be, your favorite sexual fantasy that you fulfilled was having a threesome. So that means you're fine with having a threesome when it's you and two other women, but when it's you, another man, and the woman you're in a relationship with, and it's all held to the nah nah nah, and
But
I'm
it's the
like,
same for Karen. Karen is held to the nah 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 with another man in the midst of it.
that still doesn't. I mean, two wrongs don't make a right. Yeah, two wrongs don't make a right. It's just that. I
But they
mean,
both they both prefer the same type of throuple.
well, and I told you this all. I told you this yesterday that perhaps for her, the reason why she would prefer her another woman and a man is because of what she found out with her ex boyfriend, and so she would prefer maybe not to be blindsided by that, and or just would not want another man getting excited with another man, and therefore perhaps get open the chance of him maybe leaving her for that man or something. I don't know if that makes any sense, but
Girl,
maybe that's what her. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that it's probably that could be her potential thinking. Again, I'm not saying it's right, but you know, I mean,
this
we have to
clearly shows,
know.
Karen, we have questions, or at least I have questions. Because what you just said, Ari, is that it's maybe the secrecy of it. So my whole thing, in my opinion only, is that when you are swinging, as Karen says, and you are inviting other people to your relationship, there's a chance they may leave you for an experience with that other person. A chance. Now, I did not know, and I don't know if there are rules to these swingerships that you can only swing in one direction, because I'm not, how do you determine that this couple only wants a lady in the midst of their relationship? So I have lots of questions for Karen, because it seems to me Saul would prefer another woman in their throuple, as would Karen. But she asked him about another man to see, the reaction, in my opinion. Kind of looking to see if he's kind of like her ex. I don't know. But my thing is, there's a difference for me, Saul wanting and enjoying a threesome or a throuple, and Karen saying, I'm a swinger. Swingers swing in multiple directions, not just with one person. So that's all my thing with Karen. I'm not judging her. Swing away, swing low chariot. But my thing is, you are judging him harshly for not wanting to indulge, and he's just saying no. I'd rather not. He didn't curse her out. He wasn't snappy at her that we saw. We just saw he's like, you know what? This is a no for me. You just going a little too far. And she's like, how dare you judge me? You judging me because I'm a woman. I'm like, whoa, that was a lot of heat. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'll mute myself.
No, you don't have to meet yourself. That I mean, I guess I just saw it differently, and I was just like, man, I still see it differently, and it's just, I mean, you can't be all for it one instance and then not all for it another when it like you just said it 5 seconds ago. So that's my whole thing. It's like, because to me that tells me that you're the type of man who would rather, like, you can't dish what you take out. Unfortunately, like, you be willing to do all this, like, to
I
do it
I see.
whatever however you would like, but you're not okay with someone else doing it. Like, that's, to me, that's not right. I mean,
So for me, in this instance, now I understand how you and I aren't seeing Saul, the same. I'm seeing Saul telling Karen that is beyond my boundary. That
I guess, and I don't mind people having boundaries. I don't. It's just that didn't seem like, it did, how I don't see how that's a much of a boundary if you're willing to do it with two other women. that like you're willing to have a threesome with two other women. Like, what difference does it make? Like, I don't know. Okay, so
Okay,
I
let
don't
me.
want to say what. I'm not gonna say what difference does it make if it's you, another man, and a woman. I'm not gonna say that. But it seems like it felt like he was willing to be okay with him having a threesome with two other women, but he wouldn't be okay if his partner, who's a woman, had a threesome with him and another man. So it's just like it didn't seem fair. So that's why I was like, it.
But it totally seemed fair because that's not what Karen wanted either. Karen didn't want another man in the mix. Karen wanted another woman. She clearly said that to Fernando. So
I must
my
have missed
thing
that part
is,
because I don't remember that part. But
yeah, she said, "What do you think about another woman joining us?" She clearly said that to Fernando. My thing with the whole thing with Saul, think of it this way, Ari, and this is why I can understand him too. And I always talk about this too. When women have a same sex encounter, it's seen as she has explored options, she has had an experience. That's how it's seen to society. If a man has had an encounter with another man, it is not seen that lightly. It's not seen that way. So for Saul, it could be that I do not want I don't want that type of experience. That is not me. And I don't want
then
even the hint of that.
they need you
Yeah,
to keep it all the way across the board. Don't have sexual relations with two to like don't have a threesome with two women, and because I mean that to me means that it just.
but then Karen, how is she swinging? How is she swinging? And you don't want the hint of your partner with another man because of your ex. She's having a double standard too. I have questions for Karen about this. I just
We have
have
questions all the way around for
lots of
everybody.
questions for Karen because this, and for me, and I will say full disclosure, Karen worked my nerve when she was going to out her previous partner. Outing
No,
someone is just
definitely
not it for me. I'm sorry
that
she
definitely irked
had
my
that
nerves too
experience.
because I thought I was like I thought I was tripping for a second. I was like, did I hear that right? And then you said something the other day about it. And I was like, oh, okay, so I didn't misunderstand that. So I was like, okay, but yeah, no, that
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm not ever gonna condone that. Don't ever do that because people, like you said, are still being unalive today. And it may not be as much. I don't know the stats on it, but it may not be as much as say you know, in like 1950, but it's still a thing today. And uh, but I just when it comes to the whole threesome part, I just look at it differently. So um so
Well, since we on Saul,
okay.
Saul is with Letty. Well, he was with Letty Karen, and then Karen dumped him because he's judgy, and he is with Letty.
Mm, I mean, I don't know. I didn't really say much about Saul and Letty by themselves, other than the fact that he proposes, she said yes, and they meet. So if you have something to say about them, feel free.
Girl, yes. Letty is a political consultant and a bakery owner. Letty also has said she has ADHD and she's neurodivergent. Um, Now, that's why I'm very interested in Letty's journey through this because, as neurodivergent, her processing of all of this may be amplified and may be very different than everybody else. And her and Saul getting together, Saul being aviation. Yeah, I thought that was going to be interesting. But Saul, the one thing he was like, oh, if I pick Letty, I get 2 for 1. Because since you have a puppy already and my daughter wanted a dog, I was like, this is not the way to choose a fiance, Saul. This is not a 2 for 1 special. You're choosing a fiance for your life and your daughter's life. Come on now. But Saul has, the way it says, Saul is raising his daughter primarily. The daughter's mother is in her life, but Saul has primary custody of his daughter, which I thought was very different, very sweet. He is a girl's dad, and Letty is giving us mixed signals towards the vacation of it all. But when he proposed to Letty, she accepted. They met each other. It was, they both liked what they saw. Saul is a very physical touch guy. He loved how Letty looked. He saw the whole package. And they had a makeout session on the couch, which Letty later revealed that she doesn't know how to disclose when things are too intense or uncomfortable for her. And it was a little intense for me. I kind of like, Letty, you gotta be able to tell this man. So on the vacation honeymoon, they do talk, but what Saul said is that we saw it on camera that she's like, oh, there are sparks there, and gives him the go ahead for more physical touch. Then when it's time to pull the brakes, she tells him, think of your daughter.
We're getting ahead of ourselves. This is just late. We're getting ahead of ourselves.
Oh, but okay. I'm sorry. Oh, I thought we were going couple by couple. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna talk about Alejandra next with Chema and the whole Masters debacle. So she was telling Alejandra, or Alejandra was telling Chema, I want to study, I want to do my master's, I want to do it in Italy specifically. Cool beans. If you want to do that, go right ahead. But he had reservations just because he had a previous relationship where he was in a long distance relationship and it ended pretty, I don't want to say pretty badly, but it ended sourly, to put a finer term on it. And he knew that is something that he just could not handle deal with handling again. So he was like, I don't want to hold you back from doing a master's in Italy if that's what you would like to do. And that has sounded like what she wanted to do was do a master's in Italy. And I'm sitting here thinking, I see both sides. She shouldn't have to give up her educational aspirations for him because he doesn't want to do, even though it's going to be for a short time. And he shouldn't have to, do a long distance relationship if he doesn't want to. That's his right to not want to do that. But she also shouldn't have to give up her educational dreams either, just because he's not comfortable with that. So that was my 2 little cents on that. But
how do we know this would even work?
What do you mean?
How would we know that this would even work? This, relationship would work beyond the pods or beyond a wedding date? How do we even know? And how do you even know you can't join poker tournaments in Italy? It's like the minute he found some resistance, is like, okay, I'm out of here. Bye. I'm gone. That's what I
Well,
heard.
if he doesn't want to do poker tournaments in Italy, he doesn't have to do that. That's the
He doesn't
thing.
have to, but just as she is willing to adjust, I don't agree with it, but she's willing to adjust and say, "Hey, my more important dream is to have a family, and I think it's with you." Then I don't see it as giving up my dream of getting a master's and studying opera in Italy, because she's attaining her more prominent dream of being a mother and having a husband. So I understand where he's like, I don't want you giving up that dream, because eventually in your life, maybe you'll resent me because you don't have that option anymore. But I don't see it as such. But it's like we couldn't even discuss it. I may need to see everything on the cutting room floor, because it's like, oh no, we can't even discuss options. We can't even discuss what this means. It just is. It just seemed to me like, okay, oh, we got a problem. Let's throw in a towel.
Well, you also have to remember he has a daughter. So you mean to tell me he should pack up and go do tournaments in Italy away from his daughter? I get it. It's probably only going to be for a little while, but again, he's missing out. He's going to be missing out on any time with his daughter. So
And
that
we
is
can
also
discuss your daughter coming too. We can discuss being in
why.
Italy as a family. We can discuss that.
But he also has the mother of his child too. Like you're, I mean, I'm
Right.
not saying. I mean, there's nothing to say that she won't be okay with that, but there's nothing to say that she will be okay with that either. So I just think that he's trying to consider the mother of his child along with his child, and and plus he, like I said, he also has the whole thing of I've done this before. I don't want to do it again, and
But does that mean giving
like
up?
maybe for him, maybe.
He was quick to throw in that towel. I'm sorry.
I'm just not passing judgment on the fact that he didn't want to do another long distance relationship, and he has other factors to consider. So, because like you always tell me, I'm unencumbered because I don't have kids. So,
Right. But even someone with kids, there are options. We can certainly discuss those options. It seemed like it wasn't even a discussion. I made up my mind. I ain't doing it. We ain't discussing options. It's like, okay.
that's and honestly, and that's I mean, and in taking out the whole fact that he has a kid, like if he doesn't want to do even a long distance relationship even for a little bit, I'm not gonna pass judgment on him for that, because if that's something he knows he does and that he cannot handle, I'm not gonna berate him for that. So
Right. And she said, I will adjust and I will stay in Mexico. This relationship means that much to me. He didn't ask her to give it up. She said, this is what I do. And he's like, no, book your ticket, go to Italy, bye.
he did not just say that. Stop it. In this instance, I will mute you if you don't put it. But
But she got the last word on him. That's another great lady with an exit.
yeah, and okay, this is where I will give him smoke for I want to cuss at him so bad. This dude, he thinks it's a good idea
Mm.
when he decides he ultimately wants to go with Sylvia. He's like, so let's stay in touch. Let's be friends. I'm like, boy, I know you're lying. I know you're lying. I know you're lying. Stop it. Stop it. I just want to smack his head and go, because like, boy, I know you lying. I know you lying. Stop it. Stop it. You know you fell for that. You know you fell. It's like, come on.
He said he would like to be friends. And she's like, she wants it to be very clear. We won't be friends.
I mean, whew,
True
I am
love
not
waits,
mad.
and she knows he will be back. Wait a minute.
She's so dramatic. These people are so dramatic for no reason.
She will be waiting right here in the real world when everything becomes clear to him.
She could be lurking in the bushes. Like, ugh.
Go have your little vacation with your little fiance, and when you come back and you see me, let's go with the classic Jessica. You will choke.
I will choke.
You will need your EpiPen.
People are dramatic. People are so freaking dramatic. I'm like, come.
No, but she was dramatic. She was like, "Oh, okay, you choosing her? Okay, but we won't be friends. We can't be friends because I want more."
And which I don't blame her for, because I'm like, you mean to tell me after all this time, after I spent all this time building up a connection with you, you want me to just, I can't just turn off my feelings like that. Like,
I sent you a painting and 2 lullabies.
What a lullaby.
She did. That's what she said it was. She said it was 2 lullabies. I just want to hear her sing. I will be diving into Mexico's social media. I want to hear Alejandra sing because I'm thinking she has an amazing voice. Just listening to her speak.
You know what? Hold on, please. Because I think I might know a way that to find her Instagram for you. Hold on, because I was able to find actually Chema's in IG. So let me see.
Oh, I wasn't looking. I wasn't looking for anybody. I was looking for Fernanda's last name. I was looking for that, and I was taken to her IG, but I was like, I don't want to do it. But yeah, I'll be waiting here. Alejandra said, I will be waiting here when everything becomes clear to you. And that to me was a little snipe at Sylvia. Because it's like, oh yeah, when you see her, you're going to want to see me. I thought that was a little bite. I thought that was a little bite. But she had another great exit, which, you know, I don't agree with her because it's like that man chose somebody else. Keep it pushing. Don't let him come back. But then again, it worked for Bliss. So maybe I'm wrong.
And it worked for Ayana for a little bit too, because I'm like, because you know what? Sorry. I was gonna get to. I was gonna get to. Hold on. Sorry, I am trying to.
You don't have to look for Alejandra's.
No, I have it. I'm about to. There you go. There's her IG.
Okay.
But yeah, no. So kind of going to the end of episode. What is it? 2. Where, well, before we get to that, Fernando proposes to Karen. She said yes, and they meet. So, bing, bang, boom. So, at the end of episode 2, Iris decides to have a date with Renee, right?
Renee. I like Renee.
And he's like, girl, what the hell you want? You hadn't talked to me 2 days. 2 whole days. And because you wanted to go shoot your shot at Fernando. And
give him gifts. Because I saw those gifts.
It was reminding me of a less dramatic version of Jarrett, Ayana, and Mallory. Because if y'all saw season 2 of Love Is Blind US, y'all know what I'm talking about. With Jarrett proposing hypothetically to Mallory, she's saying no, and he going run out the room into the men's lounge and boohoo crying and sniffling into a towel, and it was just that's probably going to go down in reality dating TV history as like the cry that was heard around the world. But this is kind of like the less dramatic version of that. And so I was like, I know she's like, girl, and then she had lists of reasons as to why she, like, ever since like episode one, as to why she couldn't um be with him. First, it was like, I don't, I think he drinks too much, and um and all that stuff, and then she said, and then they had a conversation before this point where he would talk about his finances, right? And he said he's a type that just spends his money, and he spent it on, vacations and concerts, and
Let's
she's the
put it in
type.
perspective. What is his job?
He's a doctor, but
Okay.
I get it, which I get it. I'm just saying, for her, she was like, but why are you doing that though? Because she has a younger brother who's 25, and from what I remember, she said that he has cerebral atrophy, and
Yes.
from what I remember, she described it as was he's basically has the mind of a child in like an adult's body. Um,
She'll
that's
be
from
his primary caregiver once her parents can no
yes,
longer do it.
exactly, because she um wants to do that for her brother.
And I
So
liked her
she,
story.
yeah, and I think that's really commendable of her. And I think, you know, um I believe she said the reason why she wanted to stay was to make sure that she, if she were to need the money for medical bills, then she wouldn't be like wiped out or whatever. Um,
But didn't she also say that she may not want to have children herself
yeah, she
because of the
said,
responsibility of her brother in the future?
yeah, that's exactly what she said. Well, I don't know for sure that I don't know if she said it because of the responsibility of her brother, but she said, from what I understood, is that because of what her brother, I guess, went through or is going through. I'm sorry, wrong verbiage there, but what her brother is going through, she doesn't want to do that. I get for
Is it a
to
possibility
her
that her
child.
children may have it too?
That's what it felt like to seem like to me, but it could be what you said, is that um, she would have the responsibility of her brother, and once her parents die, um, and so she would. I mean, if her parents die before her brother dies, God
Right.
forbid that doesn't happen, but that, I mean, it could be also that. So, but from what I got the feeling of was that she didn't want to have kids of her own in case the cerebral atrophy that her brother has goes to her children. But I could be wrong, so I will concede that. So
I just looked it up and they said yes, it can be um, genetic. And something that also they say can, you know, be a factor in it is chronic alcohol abuse. So
so
I'm
it sounds
wondering
like
if
it's like,
that's why she has a, you know, I should say
is,
she's repelled by alcohol consumption.
is that either a sister or cousin related disease to fetal alcohol syndrome, or is cerebral atrophy the same thing? Is just another way of saying fetal alcohol syndrome?
No, it's
That's
something,
that.
it may be related, but it's saying something different. It's either
Okay,
called cerebral atrophy, or in some cases, as I'm looking it up, it's brain atrophy.
that sounds very similar to fetal alcohol syndrome, and that's why I asked that, because I remember watching an episode of Law and Order SVU where they featured a case like that, where a woman had a previous child who had um, gotten fetal alcohol syndrome because of her drinking. So that's why I was like,
Right.
that
So
sounds similar.
yeah, I'm thinking that's why she has a, you know, an ick for an abundant consumption of alcohol. Then to ask her love interest Fernando if Renee would be a good choice, I thought that was strange.
Mm.
That was strange. But yeah, Renee, I liked it. Renee, if nobody liked it, I liked it when you were like, yo, we ain't talked for 2 days. You ghosted me. What am I doing here?
But I kind of got the ick though when he decided to continue entertaining her. I was like, so
I
you
think
had all
it
that smoke, but then you decided to still stick around. So,
well, she is a lawyer. She can't argue her way out of stuff now. I'm gonna give her that. She can
poor little
argue her
Tink
way
Tink.
out of it.
All I say is poor little Tink Tink, because golly, not me, not I. Because what you're not about to do for me is to me is keep doing that. So
But
yeah,
remember,
bye.
you're on Love is Blind. They are dating other people. They may
Yeah,
think they want someone else and they may
but
come back
she
to you.
but she completely cut this man out for 2 days. She didn't say nary a word to him for 2 days. 2 days.
And two
I don't
days feels
care.
like a week in there.
So
So then she comes back and I made a mistake. I thought that's what I wanted, but it's not. All I keep
well,
thinking about is Chelsea and Kwame. When Chelsea had said, the producers were like, don't get caught up on your list and who's first and who's second because it may change daily. And
well
that's why I
then,
think Renee entertained her.
mm.
Ari's like, go and keep on going.
Because I'm like tough titties, Miss Kitty. Because no, not I. I'm sorry, I can't. I can't.
Well, he does propose.
He does. But before he does, Chema tells Alejandra that he has a stronger connection with Sylvia. He proposes to Sylvia. Then Renee ends up proposing to Rais. And what kills me is when they meet up, right? They meet up, they talk, and then once they go back their separate ways, because he accepts the ring that he gives her, right? She accepts the ring. She has it on, and she's like, he looks a little bit like a bad boy, and I don't know if I like that because I don't want to go back to therapy.
He looks like he will make me need therapy. It's like, girl,
And
girl.
then
I know he
and
has a
then
piercing in his ears, but I didn't know he had it in both nostrils. Oh, you see, I had a problem with Iris since the beginning because when she heard Renee was a doctor, she was all over that because as a little girl, I always wanted to marry a doctor. I'm sorry.
and then she's like, I'm gonna call it off because I don't wanna I don't wanna deal with him.
I didn't like
Essentially,
the piercings. I saw a stranger. I couldn't recognize his voice.
she
He looks like
literally
a
gave
party
every single
guy and
reason.
a drunk.
She gave every single reason that she, except for the financial part, she gave every single reason, pretty much why she wanted to back out. I was like, girl, because and I'm glad she did though because with this entire like, and I think in episode one or was it at the beginning of episode two when Gerardo was meeting with Fernanda. I was like, why is he going down on like? Can we skip this part because we just did this? And I'm glad, and I realized, this is why because we had that one instance in Love Is Blind Brazil where that woman had met up with that guy. He said, hell no, I'm gonna leave after they went their back their separate ways. So I'm kind of glad. I'm kind of glad they do that. But I mean, on the other hand, I'm like, kind of did this already. Like we know most of these people are not gonna call it quits right there. So I'm like, can we just kind of get this over with?
And then a producer comes in and says, since there was not a match, then we must ask you both to leave the experiment.
Girl, stop it.
I was like, what? Is this how we do it? Who tells Renee?
Yeah, I was like,
I think that's how we know they put it in the wrong order because Renee says before that even happens, he says, "Well, if she doesn't like how I look, that's on her." And then we hear the producer talk to her. So yeah, I knew. I was like, yeah, somebody told Renee, and he, responded as such, but they put it in the wrong order. You asked for a doctor, here he is.
If
I'm
you don't
sorry.
quit,
I'm
if you don't quit
sorry.
this.
She said it.
After
Oh,
she
it'll be
saw
so
dollar
cute,
signs.
Doctor and Lloyd. Yeah, after she saw dollar signs, but he is so fun. I think he would have been, and this is all seriousness. I think Renee would have been good for her, and she would have been good for him. I think they would have complemented each other if she could have realized love is blind. Okay, so Renee, yes, he's carefree and wants to go on vacations and spend money on concert tickets. That fly leather jacket, though. I see you, Renee. I see you. And that would have given her an outlet to at least, lift the heavy load she's carrying. She has a lot to do. She is a lawyer. I think he would have brought the, light, fun side in her life. Because I think he looks like he's done the balance of serious surgeries, because he said that he has been involved in meticulous, serious surgeries, life-saving surgeries. And I think those are his outlets. Whereas she can bring in budgeting, saving for the future, saving for other things, saving for those vacations, and a more structure to his, life. I think they would have been well together if she would have gotten over it, because he certainly liked her. He liked her. I need him to give Renee a chance. I liked Renee.
Well, I don't think that she got over the fact that her first choice dumped her, and so she went running back to him. Because
Mm.
I mean,
And then it's like, I came back for this. Golly, I like Renee. I'm sorry, Renee. If she didn't, nobody liked you on that show. I like you. You seem like cool beans. You seem like and then Fernando told her he doesn't drink excessively, and that would have been the place for him to drink excessively, because we
oh my
know
god,
Love is Blind, popping bottles every daggone episode. I'm sorry, am I going too far?
No, I just wasn't expecting you to say that. Oh, I'm so sorry. Sorry for cackling y'all's ear. Oh, 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 okay. Okay. Let me go to Franchesca and Willie.
Oh,
Um.
Willie.
Okay. Okay. Maybe it's just me, but I don't know how. Willie seems cool, but I don't know what it is I have with the name Willie. It's just like I mean, can we just call you Will, please? Not Willie. I don't
No,
know.
he
I
had
just have a
another.
different name.
He had another nickname. He gave her permission to call him
What was that? Because I didn't catch
Guille.
it. Okay. Well, it is then. Um.
Wait a minute. We just said we were real strict about names. The man's name is Willie.
When it's unique, not no Willie.
Willie is unique.
Be quiet. Be
You
quiet.
got free Willie. Willie is unique.
Anyways, so
Willy
they
Wonka and the
gone.
Chocolate Factory.
So we get them on a date, right? So and they I actually like them together. Um, and she has a daughter. He asks, would you be willing to have any more kids in the future? And she's like, well, I'll only have more kids with a man if he treats my daughter like one of his own. Um, which honestly I'm not mad about. So sorry, I muted you. What did you do?
That's a given. That's a given.
So, um, what I'm going to be waiting for is to see him put that into action. I don't know if, you know, how much they can do when they get back from the honeymoon, but um, and I would have to kind of follow them on IG to, or some of the social media to see if he actually does what he says he will do. But I mean, yeah, I'm not mad at it.
Willie is a
And
problem.
what do you mean?
Willie is a problem. I knew Willie was a problem from the beginning. One, he says he wants to be a more assertive speaker or assertive communicator. But Willie is like, he's very skeptical about the process. He doesn't understand how people could be all in and all in love at this point. The way Willie said that, I was like, Franchesca, he's telling you right now he ain't in love. And he ain't gonna get in love this quickly. Red flag. Are you missing it? It's like, I'm scared. How could they possibly be all in and all I love yous at this moment? I was like, ooh, it doesn't seem, he said, it doesn't seem to be enough time. When is enough time, Willie? When is enough time?
Well, no, I kind of agree with that though. I mean, I'm not mad at his being skeptical about that though, because I'm like,
Then
I
why
mean,
are we here?
I get this is a heightened experience, but it's been like 2 days, y'all. Calm down, please.
It wasn't 2 days
Um,
at that point.
I mean, he's saying for other people will be saying basically to be saying I love you after like 2 days. It's like, come on, relax. It's not that. It's not. I mean, it is that serious. That's why I'm like, I don't know how in the world you can really be in love after 2 days, but you know, if y'all like it, I love it. So, um, anyway, so we see Chema and Sylvia meet, and she says, "I hope this man is not a minion." Before she actually sees him, I'm like, "Girl,
I
please."
almost died.
I was like, "Please
Then I
stop
have to
it."
lift him and kiss him, and all I saw is like, I'm like, somebody is going to create a minion meme with Sylvia kissing the forehead of a minion.
Oh, but I'm not gonna lie, he seemed like he was. I mean, he was all into her, and I was like, if y'all just don't get these people a priest, minister, whatever, and bury these people right now, because he's ready to do it right now. I'm like, child.
What
Anyways,
did he say? She's like, "Oh my God, you're good looking." He's like, "I told you, I told you."
I'm not gonna lie, I think he is pretty good looking. I think he's pretty good looking. I think he
He
might
is a
be too much
silver
of.
fox. He
Yeah,
is daggone it.
I mean, uh, I don't know if I'd ever date him if he's single now, but I mean, because of the whole fact that he describes himself as a bachelor or whatever, like a forever living bachelor. But like, you know what? I'm going straight to the pits of hell if I don't think he's attractive. So, um,
What I didn't understand is why he said his friends, girlfriends would be a harder nut to crack when you get into the friend group. I didn't understand that. Why they got so much say?
I don't know. Anyways, eventually Willie proposes to Francesca. We then have our five couples, and then they go to Tulum. So, now we can get into the whole honeymoon of it all. Okay, sorry, it took forever today, but we here,
We got all the spice. Everybody got it going on except one couple.
right?
And I will shady Netflix. Y'all making us hear the sound effects of one couple in particular. Everybody else got the silent treatment. I'm just saying. If I was
Anyway,
Fernando
so
and Karen, I would be protesting.
okay, um, pretty much everyone has the physical chemistry going on. First day they're there, and they all seem to get it in where they fit in. First night, except for one person, or what? Sorry, one couple, Letty and Saul. Um, because I made a note that to say that she said she was struggling. Uh, yes, everyone in the boom boom room, uh, getting some nookie and all that. So, um, so she is like, I don't I don't know about this because it's a struggle sleeping next to this man and uh all that stuff. So, what you think?
If you have not slept next to somebody in quite a while, it will be a struggle sleeping next to anyone, you know, whether they kick the covers or not. But she's giving, and her emotions I think are heightened, but she's, I don't want to say hot and cold, but she's giving red light, green light. And this is where, you and I kind of like also have a kind of, you know, difference of opinion. But she admits that she does say, hey, it's green light, I have sparks, I have this. And when he gets to a certain point, it's like, stop, think of your daughter. And I don't like you telling me, or I don't like the phrase of think of your daughter when we are in this prone position for you to get me to stop or just bringing it up, period. That just would completely tank my libido. And maybe that's what you're going for, but it ain't the way I would have done it. But I think, yes, they are talking. We know they're talking to each other. He even mentions it in front of the other couples, in front of her in at one point. My thing is, I think they need more clarity. I'm okay with you doing up to this. After that, no, because the cameras are around. And as we have seen, the cameras don't turn off in their room. They don't. That, I'm like, let the people sleep. Could they sleep without the cameras on for at least 5 hours or something? I mean, daggone it. But I think she should be like, hey, I'm not going to engage during the honeymoon at all, or I'm going to engage up to this point and then you need to stop. That way everybody knows. But if you tell me, hey, the sparks are flying and I'm a go, I'm thinking we trying to make a home run. All the bases can be loaded, is what I'm thinking.
No, and I definitely agree with at least the fact that they need to communicate a lot better than what they're doing because they're not communicating worth a damn on either part. It's not just him and it's not just her. Um, they're not communicating worth a damn at all. And because and this is kind of where um I guess understood her because at the end somewhere along the line in the episode, I can't remember if it was like in the middle or towards the end, but um, her, Saul, um, Chema, Sylvia, and I believe it was Gerardo and Fernando, but I can't remember who the third couple was. Um, they were on that yacht, catamaran boat, whatever it is, and all the girls, went to by themselves on one part of the boat, and then guys went by themselves. And she tells the other girls, you know, I feel like like it sounded like what she was trying to say was like she felt pressured to be touchy feely and sexual all the time because that's what it seems like he likes a lot or prefers. And the problem is she didn't say that to him. She didn't say that to him. If that's really the case. And so they're missing each other like two ships passing in the night, and nothing is ever really truly resolved.
Especially since he told her before in their dates that he is a physically affectionate person. He said that.
And it could be that she seemed to be fine with it at that point, but then she didn't. Maybe she didn't realize the scope of how touchy feely and physical he really is, and but then she's not really saying. Well, she's still not saying, you know, um, this is too much for me. So that I will give her smoke for, um, because you need. I mean, I don't care if you're neurodivergent or not, you still need to be able to talk
I do agree it's
effectively.
overwhelming. It can be. This person is still technically a stranger. I wonder if she's going through what, Iris and, with Renee. It's just she made it all the way to the honeymoon and now it's like I I'm no longer connected. But then she said, I feel sparks. She's confusing me. She's confusing me. And I will give Saul credit that even though he is frustrated, he does stop when she asks him to stop. He is frustrated with the whole situation, but he does not, or they're not presenting to us that he's, pushing for a yes even when she's uncomfortable.
And see that I kind of said this to you yesterday that I mean, I have trust issues with these editors because of leaving stuff out because of the fact that we find out when they all meet, when all the couples meet the next day after, like the day after they get there, that Chema and Francesca know each other. And they never showed us that they had this conversation in the pods, that they realized that they knew each other. And again, this is another reference to Love is Blind US, where we had a case where with Uche and Lydia, that they knew each other from, and in fact, well, in their case, they dated each other, and with Chema and Francesca, they didn't date each other. She dated his best friends. So
Roommate. Mm-hmm.
um so it's different and it's not as drama filled, obviously. But so I have trust issues with these producers and these editors for leaving things out until right that second. So I mean, I'm not
But
gonna say that he's doing anything, but I'm not gonna say that we haven't seen everything either. So
right,
that's
because Letty's just saying she wants to be a model for his daughter, I'm saying no. And when you're a parent, you have to put your kids first. And I'm like, he's not only a parent, he was a man first before he was a parent.
true.
Because, it's like, is this really how she's feeling? Or is this about image and how his daughter may perceive her? So, as you said that about Chema and Francesca, I got an issue with because that right there, that conversation with Sylvia, where Sylvia's like, hey, since you one of his, in his friend group, what are our chances? And Francesca said, oh, yeah, it's fine. She does say, Chema, once he realized his daughter was on the way and he became a parent, he got his stuff together and he's a responsible and awesome dad. I'm glad to hear that from, someone. But Francesca, because you said in the confessional later, yeah, he all about image. I'm not sure how this gonna go. What?
No, you ain't shit for that. I'm like, girl.
And Sylvia's like, oh my God, talking to Francesca, all my doubts and fears went away. Come on. You just set that girl up for slaughter.
Oh, sorry.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
like, yeah, you ain't right for that one, girl. I'm just like, you know you ain't right. But yeah, I was just like, ugh, I don't need to get it together.
I'm telling
Um,
you. It's everybody trying to put a little salt in everybody's tea or coffee. And Saul tells Fernando, Karen is nice and sweet now, but wait till her temper flares.
I just like you didn't have to say that, like, because I didn't view it as necessarily being hot and quick tempered because it made it sound like it was she was like uh, she was this egregious person who was just who cussed him out or something. Because when I think of hot and quick tempered, I think of someone who and I need to realize that not everyone's going to think this, but when I think of hot and quick tempered, I think of someone who's literally raising their voice and cursing people out and calling them everything but a child of God. And she did anything but that. She was obviously hurt and frustrated, but anybody who feels like they're um what's the word anybody who feels like
Judge.
they're yeah, like they're judged is gonna feel frustrated and and kind of come out of how they usually act because they feel hurt and judged unfairly in their opinion. So I mean, like and that I guess maybe my part of my issue with him. And then it's also like the way he says things because he told Gerardo, and this could honestly be lost in translation because I was listening to them actually
Mm-hmm.
speak Spanish and I was watching the subtitles, so it could be lost in translation.
Mm-hmm.
But he was telling Gerardo she's a tease. Now, what the hell you say that?
Letty, yeah.
Yeah, why? Like, I don't believe
I
that's
think
what
it's
she was
lost.
intending to do.
I agree with the word, and I agree that it's lost in translation. Because if you're telling me it's a go and then a no, and it's a go and then a no, then and I cannot speak for all male, but in a you know vocabulary, you're teasing me.
And, for me, the reason why I don't like that is because to me, being a tease means you're doing it maliciously, and I don't believe she was doing it maliciously. That's where I didn't like that because she wasn't. I do not believe she was trying to do that with a bad bone in her body at all. She just has a problem with how she can express herself, and that's what
But
she needs to work on.
tease doesn't need to mean malicious.
It doesn't need to be, but I believe that
It just means
teasing
to tempt. If I'm looking in the dictionary now, it's to tempt.
and that it implies some sort of maliciousness. And to me,
No,
anyway, to me
really.
it implies and have like a malicious undertone. Um, but I mean that to me to me being a tease means you're being a little bit malicious, um, have malicious undertones. That's just my opinion, and so that's why I didn't necessarily care for him saying that word because I don't believe she was being malicious at all, and that's just my perception. And I just wanted him to find. I mean, if you must judge, which we like you told me, we all do that to weed out um, the people in our dating lives. That's one thing, but it I feel like you could have found a better way to say that personally. So
As I said, it could be lost in translation, but tease also, provoke in a playful way. I don't see tease as even in that manner that it's necessarily malicious because I don't see her as malicious or her actions at malicious, but it's still, you know, on again, off again, it's teasing. It's like I feel sparks. We can go there and then stop. Think of your daughter, you know. Because if we really go, that whole think of your daughter, that to me could be hit as malicious. I'm sorry. Because you
and
shouldn't.
I will not fight you on that part because I
But
I can I
but
can
I'm
see
not
that
gonna say
point.
that for her. I'm not gonna say that for her. She just is uncomfortable. But
And that's the thing. It's like I think she's just uncomfortable and she's not really able. She just scream too much. She knows how to really vocalize herself all that well.
right. I
So
could give I
that's
could give that.
so that's why I'm like I that's just I'm not gonna. That's just how I saw it. So, um,
And
but
considering he's a very physically affectionate man, or he defined himself as physically affectionate, physical touch could be his love language, could be, and to deny him that, because he couldn't even, if you noticed a scene, he put his hand on her knee when they were private, and she kind of pushed his hand off. So it could be seen to him as a rejection. Every time you push me away physically, it could be seen as a rejection. And so he's getting hurt and hurt and hurt every day. So it compounds.
okay, fair enough. Because I was just thinking of Becca and Austin from Married at First Sight, and she went through the same similar thing. So, or it seems like a similar thing, where she was like, well, can we at least like hold hands, hug, just kiss, whatever. We don't have to go all the way, but he was in his mind, what he thought of as physical interaction was having sex.
Right.
And she was telling him that I don't need to have sex, specifically sex right this moment, and in the next like few weeks or months or whatever. Not to say that waiting months to have sex is something that I would be okay with, but whatever. But that so yeah, I will give you that with. I mean, it's just that they're like I said, there are two ships, like seems like two ships passing in the night and are not communicating all that well. And it just from what I got the impression of, especially by the time um the host came in on the last night of the honeymoon, they still didn't really communicate all that well, and they were losing each other in translation even in their own language. So I mean,
Right. Because Saul needs to stop comparing their relationship to the others. He needs to stop that. He said, everybody else is having a good time, you know, having, closeness with their significant other, and he's over there alone. He needs to stop that.
yeah, and I think for like I said, for her, she's feeling pressure to, yeah, and it could be from both, from it could be unbeknownst to the other couples, or it could be just from him, or it could be from both, that she's feeling like she needs to do all this sort of stuff, like be touchy feely, and she's just not comfortable with it, and ugh, just y'all need to talk. Go to a therapist if y'all need to, please, to make, because a good therapist will be a good mediator and be able to translate what you say to your partner effectively
They need to end
or
it.
something. I think it's just, he just said they just need to end it. Damn. No in between. Just end it. Damn it. Just end it.
They need to end it. I'm being, semi serious in that we can't even get to the point of comfortable enough to hold hands, or you even skin to skin with me, your hand on my knee or anything like that. Then whether it's because of the, show and the filming, if you don't want me touching you at all, I'm not going to go through 8 weeks waiting for you to figure it out. I'm not. So we could just end this right here. We could, meet each other again after the show or whatever. But, there's nothing wrong with holding his hand or kissing him in public or whatever. If you don't want to do anything physically, it's like, how are you showing him affection? Especially physical touches where he prefers it.
I was just thinking. Do you remember Iris from season 9 of Maps?
I don't remember the name, but I'm not pulling up a face.
So that was the Charlotte season, I think.
Oh yes, okay.
I believe that was Charlotte. I don't remember exactly if it was that or
Yes,
not.
yes,
But
it was. Yes, it was.
so she who I can't remember who she was paired with.
Keith
Who
or
was she?
Kenneth?
Yeah, Keith. Yeah, Keith.
Okay.
And so she she every time he would even like whether it was prompted by producers or not, whenever he would bring up the topic of sex or whatever, she clammed up. And I'm like, I was just thinking about that for some reason. I don't know why.
And it's understandable, but she still let Keith hold her hand. She still, he knew ahead of time. He knew that we weren't going to go all the way, to homes or third or whatever. He knew because she was very clear with her boundaries. So I think that is what may be needed.
And but the thing is, like with Iris, like she couldn't even talk about sex just as a future thought, not something that they were going to do obviously right that second. So it's like the if you can't even like talk about it like that.
Well, I think she didn't want to talk about it on camera. Let's not get too
mm,
crazy.
I don't know
You
about
know,
that, but go off, I guess.
I wouldn't if I was in her shoes, I wouldn't talk about it on camera because you run the risk of people being like, how much of a V could she be if she go and talk about all this stuff? So I wouldn't talk about it on camera either. But she was
Mm.
engaged, wasn't she? Did she get married?
Ah, that is a question. I don't remember,
Yeah,
but
I know I saw a spread that she was engaged, but I don't know if she got married since then. But we digress.
right. um,
Oh yeah, I see it here. She got engaged to her doctor boyfriend Kevin after 8 months of dating. Okay, you go, Iris. Okay, I'm sorry.
again, we digress.
Is that
Who
all the
who
couples, all the issues?
um
Because I don't know how many weddings we see the preview. Somebody throwing a suitcase at their significant other. It's getting spicy.
mm,
I will say Sweden is still my number one, and Mexico, you coming up there to be number two. I'm gonna have to wait for the whole season to be over to determine if you really my number two, Mexico. But you bringing it. Mexico is bringing it. I love it.
I still prefer the Japanese version.
Okay.
That's number one.
But nobody got
Um,
married.
yes, they did in Japan. Yes, they did.
I'm
Two
just
people
kidding.
got two. Girl, if you don't quit, I'm about to knock you off. Um, but yeah, that I think that's probably some of my favorite one. Um, I really like Sweden, but I don't know. I'd have to see obviously the rest of this one, then UK to kind of determine where the rest of them fall in line.
I
Uh,
know.
so
You didn't talk about the attire. The first 30 seconds of the first 2 minutes of the show, you were like, oh, the
what are you
gentlemen are
saying?
wearing skirts. A gentleman is wearing a skirt.
Oh, right. I forgot about that. Wasn't that Fernando who said he wears the skirts of it all? Like not another man wearing a skirt.
Yep.
Uh, I was like, we done crossed over to Mexico down south down below the border. Talk about we want to wear skirts. Like golly, ugh, I don't know. It's just whatever floats your boat, I guess.
I don't
Ugh.
mind it. I mean, hey, it beats that SNL, skit. It beats it being sweaty down there.
Mm.
And Do you want me to go further or just leave it alone?
Mm. If you want to, I guess, but uh, I'm gonna beat myself.
Well, hey, there's always something, how can I say it? It's readily accessible. That's the best way to say it. And I think I'll leave it right there.
Okay, we're gonna get off. We're gonna get off. We're gonna
So
get
I
off.
vote yay for the skirts of it all on the man of Mexico because he looked good. He did look good.
But no, see. Well, I'm gonna air you out because you told me on IG yesterday or whatever it was that he was wearing a kilt. Now, no, what we're not gonna do is call it a kilt because what we're gonna do is we're gonna reserve that for Scotland because that no, we're not gonna call it no freaking kilt here. Okay.
Okay, kilt, skirt, wrap, sarong. I mean, whatever he would like to call it. Whatever he was wearing, it was not pants. It was covering his knees, and he looked good. Hey, that's all well and good. I admired him for wearing that.
Anyways, we're gonna get out of here. 2 o'clock. And we're gonna come back next week. Episodes. Well, I'm gonna talk to you about the other one later. But for sure, Love is Blind Mexico episodes 4 through or not 4. That's what I get 4. 5 through 8. See, that's why I need to get off because clearly I can't think straight. Um, but yes, episodes 5 through 8. They will be back in Mexico City, and the shared apartments, and apparently throwing everything but the food at everybody, clothes, suitcases, whatever, at people in their heads. And you better duck because apparently that's what's going to happen. Because everybody's sick of their crap. So um, that what seems like is going to go down. Uh, but yes. Any last thoughts before we get out of here?
No, thank you all for watching. And Mexico is bringing the fire, and UK is about to rev it up further next week. So we're gonna have a 2-for-1 special next week.
Mm, 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 mm. Okay. We'll see you guys later.